Easy product, the best practices and product overview. If you guys have any questions during the presentation, feel free to type them in. We'll address them at the end. And then if you do get disconnected for any reason or have to leave early, the recording of this webinar will be available on our website later this week. Other than that, I'm going to turn this over to Doug.
Morning, everyone. Thanks for taking your Wednesday morning, spending a little time with us. As Zach said, this is our best practices and product overview. You know, we started these webinar series because we realized that a lot of our clients that have our products didn't know about some of the new features that have been added. So let's jump right into it. Your time's valuable, so we're moving on. So why are you here? Well, it's because you own one of our products, either our merging product for merging records, our Outlook integration tool, our national change of address tool to go and find everyone who's moved and update them, our event closing tool, freight rate importer if you're actually using UPS Freight and iMIS or USPS, our import tool, iImport, our tool that figures out latitude and longitudes and pretty soon is going to allow you to use IQAs to do selects within a mileage radius, so you can go ahead and do your own polls instead of using an ad hoc. You can just type in, I want everyone within 30 miles of this zip code. Our activity importer tool, our online donation tool, our tool page filter for modifying your public view or RISE sites, those little things that you wish you could change, now you can. Our newest, iDocument, document your entire database, so if you do want to leave behind a legacy at your organization of your iMIS documentation, you've got that. Our profile editor, and then most importantly, Freeze, which stands for Fundraising Made Easy. So real quick, we're going to go over the history of Freeze. We're going to talk about using it on a regular daily basis, what we see some people using it for, a couple things that you may or may not have known that it can do, including some new stuff. Stuff about getting the latest release, how to do that, how to get help if you get stuck, and then some Q&A if anybody is curious. So we came out with Freeze in 2008. And I think Alpha Chi Omega is on the phone today. And just I was actually at Alpha Chi Omega, and we were moving a gift to a new ID. And it was about 10 or 12 steps, and it took about 10 minutes. And I remember asking them, how often do you put a gift on the wrong ID? And they said, oh, we do about 5 to 6 a week that end up being on the wrong ID. And I went, uh-oh, that's too much time. So we wrote Freeze to make your life easier. That was version 1.0 back then. We're already on 1.2.8, and we've been enhancing it based on requests from you guys, new features that you want, staying with the times with iMIS, you know. And I just want to say thanks, because we couldn't have done it without you. You're an important part. Your feedback is appreciated, and we like it. So why did we write it? Well, as I said, we needed to change IDs sometimes. Gift went in on the wrong ID, and we needed the ability to change it. Sometimes we needed to change the date received. That's not the transaction date. That's that date received that we track. You know, when did the gift actually come in? From a super simple standpoint, if the appeal was wrong and the batch is posted, you are doomed. You can't fix it. But now you can with Freeze. Same thing with the campaign. And all of these are non-financial aspects. You know, really in terms of what goes over to your accounting system, none of these actually go over to your accounting system. So the appeal, the campaign, how about the list as? You know, did you list it as, you know, the wrong person? You know, did they want it listed as Mr. Morris instead of Douglas Morris? What if there was a solicitor you needed on there and you forgot to do it? How about changing the acknowledgement information? What if really it should have had a tribute on it or a memorial and it's too late, it's already been posted? We have a lot of people that adjust notes. And then finally, soft credits. If you forgot to, you know, put a soft credit on there and gets locked down. How about the ability to even change unpaid installments on a pledge? Well, believe it or not, those are really not financial because pledges are recognized at the time of entry. So if I do a multi-year pledge, it is recognized 100% now. So those pledge dates, those installment dates, are actually changeable, and they do not affect your accounting system. They do affect the reminders a person might want to get. They do affect the trial balance and all those fun things. But then we had to do the big one. We had to allow people to change the distribution or fund. That's just so important to fundraisers to make sure that information is right. And what happens there is someone on the accounting side says, I've made the change, I did the journal entry, we're good on the accounting side, just make iMIS match accounting. And there was no way to do that. So we added the ability to do that with a special access keyword. We'll talk about that in our demo. And then I'll bet you most people didn't know this, but we had one more important thing that's in there. It's been in there since, I think, 1.06. There's an audit trail. So any changes that are made with Freeze are actually tracked. And turns out our manual doesn't have a whole lot of information on that. So I'm going to talk about that today, and then I'm going to, we're going to get our manual updated as well for that. So what's it look like for things that you might need to do with Freeze? We talked about changing the ID on a gift. We talked about changing unpaid installment dates on a pledge. And I wrote in amounts. As long as the total amount does not change, so if I owe $1,200, I can make that over a quarter, a couple months, or whatever. I can actually change the amount due, but overall it has to total to what the original amount due was. We're going to correct a list as. We're going to add a soft credit. We're going to show you something really cool you may not have known. This was a beta theta pi request where you need to find every transaction from a day because you did them all wrong yesterday. Or maybe you need to find every transaction on a certain appeal. You'll be able to do all that, and I'll show you how to do that. And then we'll talk about changing the distribution. All right, so we're going to go right into it now. I'm in iMIS. Life's good. I'm going to fire up Freeze. All right, so all of our products go ahead and they install right here into CSI programs, and then there's Freeze along with this interesting thing called the user guide. So that's a quick way to do it. I could have just gone into search. What you're looking at is a brand new version that's not even out yet. This is our new login screen that you're going to start to see on our products. You're going to say, ooh, it's so pretty. And I'm going to go ahead and log into Freeze. All right, I'm in Freeze. Let's go and talk about putting a gift on seniors record when it should have been on juniors. I'm going to look up a donor here, and I'm going to look up James Harrison. We happen to have two James Harrison. We have a senior and a junior right here. And if I pull up the senior, right, he gave a gift. There it is. There's the gift. Let's pull up that gift. I'm going to double-click it. And I need to move this over to junior's record. It's this easy. You click search again, look on the last name, Harrison James. There it is. We're going to go down to junior. I'm going to select him. I've changed the ID. This is a new feature. You're going to see a warning message when I hit save. Hey, heads up, if there's donor club stuff, we're not messing with it. You're going to have to update that manually in iMIS. So just a heads up, we're going to move the gift and everything, but we're not going to touch the donor club because there could be some interesting rules behind that. Most of our clients have special donor club scripts, and we don't want to get in the way of those. So that's new. Okay. So I just changed that. We get a little message, the gift has been updated. Not too bad. Well, what else can I do with Freeze? Well, how about the installment dates we talked about? I'm going to do find. I'm going to pull up this cool guy, Doug Morris. Notice these fields all build on each other. I could just do last name first. I could also throw in the company or parts of it, just like iEmail. They all build on each other. So there's my pledge. I got to be honest with you. I promised to give some money about, I don't know, 5 years ago. And it turns out I've been a little behind the times. But I've called and I want to make this right. So you can see that I've got 4 installment dates out here from 2010. I owe about $1,200. You can just go out here if you want to. You can just start hitting plus, or you can go ahead and, if you wanted to, you could go and just change all those dates individually. You know, if I wasn't so far behind, it might be quicker to just manually type in the dates. But there we go. So now I've changed all these dates, and they're all forward now, and they're all due here. I could go out here if I needed to. I can just hit save, but I could add another date in here. I would need to change one of these amounts. It's not something we see people doing a lot, but if you do need to change the amounts, if the person says, I just can't make $300 a month, but I could pay you $100 a month, I could go out here and change this to 24 pledges or installments if I wanted to. So it's all out here. You just go ahead and type in the new date and add it. But I'm going to just change it to the current. You hit save, you get a message the pledge has been updated. Great. Everything's changed in iMIS. You don't have to worry about it. There's no financial issue short of Doug Morris is not as far behind as he used to be. Okay, what else can we do? Well, how about Michael Morris, my long-lost cousin, cool guy, and also in the iMIS database. There he is. Turns out he gave a gift. I'm going to go ahead and pull up that gift. And he didn't like the list as Mr. Morris. He hates being called Mr. Morris. You know, he'd like it to be Morris Family. It's that easy to do, to go ahead and change the list as. Notice while I'm in here, all the other fields, and I'm going to show you some of the other ones that I can do, but they're all available to change as well, including the check number and things like that. So I'm going to hit save. Michael's gift has been updated. His list as has been changed. What about Doug Morris, right? Turns out I gave a gift just recently, and Zach really deserved soft credit on that. So let's pull up the gift, and I need to change to soft credit. There's the tab for soft credit. I can go. There he is. There's two. There's a branch and a branch Z. And there we go. Now I go out here and change the amount, anything I need to do. He's got full soft credit. Life is good. Gift has been updated. Perfect. That easy to change soft credit. I could even go out here and add a tribute if I needed to at the same time. Change any of the acknowledgement fields. And as I mentioned, you can change any of the notes. None of these are financial. So let's show you one more cool thing you can do with Freeze. You can go out here and say, hey, I want to find all gifts entered on 3/1/2015. Hit enter. There's every gift you entered on that date. And the cool thing about Freeze is now I can go in and I can change all of these gifts very easily. I can't change them all en masse, but I can pull up each one. So here's 1, 2, 3, 4. And I can pull that gift up and say I did these all wrong. Every one of them was supposed to be the spring telemarketing appeal. Hit save. Click OK. I don't like that cancel button there. Now I go to the next gift, pull that one up, same thing. And I can just crank through. If I made a whole bunch of mistakes yesterday, I can just crank through and fix them all very easily. So nice way to pull up gifts rather than pulling up individual. You can pull up all that happen to match a given appeal, a given campaign, or even in this case, transaction date. I could have also just gone out here and typed in the given appeal. Finally, let's go back to Doug Morris's record, just to show you this in action. And I'm going to go ahead and pull up this gift. All right, pull up the gift, and I'm going to go over here and I'm going to change the distribution because really that shouldn't be there. Boom, you're going to get a message. If you've ever gotten this message, what this means is that you've got a, you don't have the proper access keyword to edit that. This is by design. We really don't want people changing the distribution or fund on a gift unless they're authorized to do it. So in the manual, we talk about how to add this in so you can go and make those changes. Very important because this is a high-risk thing. You can't go change this information unless you have that access keyword because you've got to update your accounting system. So very important, and I wanted to show you that. So those are just some very cool things with Freeze, kind of in a day in the life. We did add the ability to change the payment info as well, so if the check number was wrong or you need to move it over to a credit card, that, of course, as well has accounting implications. All right. So what's new? You saw that warning message when I changed the IDs. Talked about the ability to edit the check number. You saw that pretty cool login control. That comes with a new installer. And then we've actually added some new licensing. All right, and we're going to talk about that in 1 second. But first, did you know that Freeze keeps an audit trail of all changes? They are stored in the database under a freeze activity type, which is not normally visible in iMIS. That's on purpose. We don't add that activity type because people may not want that audit trail visible to regular users. You can put an access keyword on it and hide it and do all sorts of fun things. But this webinar shows you the activity you need to make in iMIS in order to see them. And then once you do that, if you've done it correctly, let's find out. Once you do that, I can go ahead and pull up my information, and then I can go ahead and look at my activities. And you'll see here's some freeze activities. What was changed, you know, gift changes, change the installments, there's the amounts. Basically, notes of everything you changed and who you were logged into Freeze as. So if you do have some mysterious things happening in your fundraising side of things, you can actually go out there and look at that information. I would recommend that if you do make that activity, you do put an access keyword on it down there, and that would lock it down to only certain individuals. So maybe you want to put the same FRZ access keyword. Okay? All right. You like what you see and you want it, right? Well, first off, figure out what version of Freeze you're on. Your screen probably doesn't look like that. It looks more like this, okay? Because right now our current release on our website is 1.2.3, a very cool number. And you can see that when you launch Freeze, it should be up there, and you can see that when you click on the Help menu, you should also see it down here as well. 1.2.8, or whatever release officially comes out, is called our new release, because I thought that was really cool. It's still in beta. We're trying out a couple things, and it's going to be out shortly, and you're going to get a message. And when you get that message, we're going to ask you for some information. We're going to ask you for your iMIS serial number. And the reason we're doing that is right now, when you add users to your iMIS database, you need a new serial number for our product. So instead of licensing off your number of users as well as the name of your organization, we're going to key off your iMIS serial number in the future. So when that comes out, we're going to ask for that. And then once you give us that serial number, our new system is going to self-license so that when you log in, it's going to call CSI and say, hey, do they have Freeze for this serial number? It's going to say yes, and it's going to automatically put the license key in. We're going to be doing this with all of our products because it's just such a pain in the butt for you guys to have to request a license key, and then if Zach's, not answering his phone for 2 hours of the night, he's got to do it at 3 a.m., because he slept for 2 hours. So we want to eliminate the back and forth of license keys that we have to do with our products. So they're going to self-license based on your serial number with very little work on your end. Okay, here's how you get it. If you are on something earlier than 1.2.3, or when we release our 1.2.8, what you're going to do is you're going to go to our website and you're going to click on Login. You might have forgot your login to our website, and that's okay. You can just email sales@csiinc.com and say, I lost the login, okay? And I lost the product key. As I mentioned, product key is going to be going away, but if you need something prior to 1.23 and you don't have your product key, you can always request that at sales as well. Scroll down to our current product releases. You're going to see all the products that you're currently licensed for and current on your software update fee, and then you're going to see Freeze. There's 2 links down there, right? One says documentation and one says release. Do note that documentation's out there in case you want to see what's new in the latest release. You don't have to get the documentation from there. Like I said, it is put onto your computer automatically when you install Freeze. Also, just a heads up, you can install Freeze on as many computers as you want at your organization. It doesn't matter. So, click on the download link. Save it somewhere, Okay, I always tell people to save it somewhere. I like to save it on an erase me file, a folder. I've got an erase me folder that's on my desktop, and that's something that I just throw stuff that I can erase. I don't care about it. When my hard drive gets full, I just delete everything and erase me because it doesn't mean anything. So there's my tip of the day. When you're ready to install it, you want to right mouse click on it and say Run as Administrator. That's really important because Freeze needs to make sure it has plenty of power on your machine to make the changes it needs to. You should have no issues as a regular user installing it. However, if you have not upgraded in a while, or it's the first time you're installing Freeze, it's going to ask for your SA password or an SA equivalent. If you don't know what that is, you need to talk to your IT person or your solution provider to get that. It's a one-time thing that it needs to do ahead of time. And then it's going to ask for your license key if it's the first time you're doing it. If you forgot or lost it, remember, just email sales@csiinc.com. If you get stuck, like I said, Brooke here does all of our manuals. We've been redoing all our manuals. We spent a ton of time. She gets very heartbroken when people don't read the user guides. So it's there. You know, please take a gander at it. We're always improving on it. If you see there's, you know, something we can add to it, we're interested. So please let us know. If you go through the manual and you can't find what you're looking for, then you can go ahead and email support@csiinc.com. Please include as much information as you can. And what we like to say here is a screenshot is 10,000 words. If you can give us a full screenshot of everything, and that includes the ID, you know, what the error is, and all that fun stuff, that will be huge because from there we can figure out a lot of interesting things. Please don't say Freeze isn't working for me because then what happens is support's got to go back and forth and get all that information, meaning it delays us getting you timely support. We say that you can get support within 2 business days with CSI. Right now they're running a little quicker than 1 business day, but sometimes things get busy. So if you're really stuck and it's an emergency, please submit the ticket and then follow up with a phone call. Otherwise, within 2 days, you're going to hear from support regarding your issue. If you got ideas for our products, including Freeze, go ahead and email them to support@csiinc.com. All enhancements are reviewed about once a month, and then we'll get back to you and say, hey, great idea. Unfortunately, no one's ever asked for that before, so we're going to add it, you know, to the request list. It might be like, wow, great idea. I don't know why it doesn't do that. We're going to add that. Or it might be that's in the next release. So we review every request. Please keep them coming because that's how our product gets better. We're going to have more events like this, and we are. You can find out if you go to our webinar link. It's just csiinc.com/webinars. And if you missed the previous one or you want to tell someone how great this Freeze one was, you can go to the same link, csiinc.com/webinars. And you will see all of the previous webinars we've done. We've done an iMerge, an iEmail, a meeting closer, an iImport, an activity importer. All those have been done. They're all out there. They are designed for an end user that already owns our product. Really, they're not salesy. They're designed to help you learn more. How can I show my coworkers the power of Freeze? Well, remember what I just said. You can go to csiinc.com/freeze, and you'll see the link to the webinar there, or you could go back to that other one. Either of those 2 links work for you. And then finally, we have all of our product videos out on YouTube. They're reachable from our website, but right now you can go to YouTube as well and look up CSI product videos. So any questions? Kai is making fun of the fact that when I typed FR, FreeCell came up. I don't know.
I can't believe that FreeCell even exists still.
It's apparently on my computer. I haven't used it in years. So we got a question out here. When pulling up transactions by date, can pledge installments be retrieved as well? So are you asking, would we be able to search by a pledge installment date as well? Is that the question? Waiting on an answer. Zach, tell us a joke.
A man walked. Good, that wasn't going to go well.
Oh, if you are pulling all gifts made within a certain date, yes, the pledge installments can be retrieved as well. So in that case, you would just pull up the individual pledges and click on the installment date. So yes, you can pull up all of the pledges by date, double click on them, and then edit the installments. So yes, but it is based on the original pledge date. So no report to pull all gifts that include pledge payments. I'm not totally understanding that question, but I'll tell you what we're going to do. We're going to unmute you. This never works, by the way. All right. You're live.
This is Milana from the Sigma Kappa Foundation.
Hi, Milana.
And my
First-time caller?
Pardon me?
First-time caller?
Long-time user?
Long-time user, first-time caller. So my question is, you said I can pull all gifts that have been made within a certain date range. But that only counts if they're straight gifts. They're not gifts that have been put on a pledge installment, correct?
So what I can do out here, I'll just show you in action here. See if we're talking the same thing. So I'm going to pull up my record. I got to remove the transaction date. In this case, so there is the transaction date of 2/3/2010. If I did that 2/3/2010, I see every pledge that was made on that date, and then I can double click it and then go to the installments. Does that work for you? Or you?
No. No. So if I want to pull all the gifts that have been given in the month of February 2015.
Oh, I gotcha. She's not looking for a specific date, more of a date range.
Oh, a date range. Oh, ooh, interesting. Interesting. So transaction start and end date. Okay, well, we'll add that to the list of requests. That's a good one. I get it now. Sorry.
No, that's great. It just if I want to pull all gifts and payments, or even if I wanted it for a specific date, you're saying that I can't get pledge payments if the installment date is a different date than what I'm pulling.
Right. Yeah. Okay. We'll add that. So you can't do that yet, but that's a good request.
Thank you.
Now I'm going to mute you before you cause more trouble. Is that okay?
All right.
All right. I can leave you. I will leave you on for the whole time. I don't see any other questions. So I want to thank everyone for spending 30 minutes with us today. I do really appreciate your time, and we'll talk to you soon. Thank you.